it was an unrelated. It's an unrelated side story from the Evil Exes, but like they used that part and were able to make a stronger little battle in the film for both of the characters because they're both
Yeah.
kind of working through and becoming a better
and
couple
and it's
in the
probably really
film.
the only time that they are actually working together for a common goal, because when you really look at most of the film, the only time that Scott and Ramona really kind of like have anything in common is when they're sleeping together. But
Yeah,
like when you kind of go through and you look at like kind of like the rest of the stuff, there's an awkwardness. There's a I don't really quite get uh like why are we dating? Like it's to the point where we kind of know that the further the movie goes, like the Scott's dream girl vision is fading away, because we know, um okay, she's not everything like what he thought in his dreams were. Like, this is a real human being. Do
yeah,
I still love this woman? And yeah, it goes right into the Gideon battle, and I don't know. There is a part of it that I don't really like the end of Scott Pilgrim and everything, because I think they fixed it in the book where I think Scott does get with knives. That like
no,
no,
no.
no,
Scott does not get with knives.
he doesn't.
Scott was Scott was never meant to get with knives. Like
Okay.
there's even a moment in the book where he meets up with knives like after he and Ramona break up. Spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of season, at the end of book 5. Sorry, it's still a good book.
I
You should
mean,
read
I
it.
already mentioned spoilers already, so we're fucking free
Yeah,
to discuss anything.
no, he and knives don't get together.
Okay.
This another aspect of like when you're of the condensing the story of like when they're off and doing their own thing, they're all coming to realizations. Like Knives realizes that Scott was a terrible and shitty boyfriend to her on her own, and
Okay.
she realizes like she still loves Scott, but like she's not in love with him, and Scott's
Yeah.
still reeling from Ramona breaking up with him or leaving, essentially, and he's like still trying to like figure out his feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, he doesn't get with Knives, but
Okay.
that's a aspect in the film that I think kind of like benefited from not doing like having Knives come to realization that she doesn't love Knives or Scott anymore, and like that he was the terrible boyfriend.
Yeah.
Having that, saving that for the final battle in the film, definitely benefited the film because it helped Scott like realize like who he was and like what his actions were doing, and bring his character arc to a satisfying conclusion. You know?
I guess to a somewhat satisfying conclusion. I don't know. For me, I kind of felt like when he got the self respect sword, and that's what he used to defeat Gideon, in the sword fight. That like afterwards, it's all like, okay, well, like he apologizes to everyone he's ever hurt, even to Kim. You know,
Yeah,
because that's the whole reason Kim always give him that sour look, and she reams his ass for dating Knives, and then he breaks up with her to be with Ramona, and I think even like Sam was all like, I actually like Knives. It's all like I don't like this other woman, because it caused more problems. Um, but like, I don't know, when you figured the self respect. If anything, I kind of thought that at least at the end of the movie that he either probably would be with Knives or he would just be alone and everything. I did not believe the whole like, okay, he got the self respect. He kind of realized that maybe he doesn't really love Ramona. She wasn't who he thought he was, and that just the film giving him Ramona, even though like she was getting ready to walk away, she's like, I have so much stuff I need to work on. There's no way I can actually be in a relationship. And then Scott's like, oh, we'll do this journey together, and
yeah,
that. So like I guess maybe you could still leave it open that maybe they aren't together, but the fact that he's gonna be there to support her as she is trying to discover who she is.
yeah,
Like I guess you could take it in that way, but I think a lot of people just take it that, oh, they're together and everything, and when you look at Knives has sacrificed far more than what Ramona ever did. Knives changed quite a bit of her own look, her personality. When Scott broke her heart, uh, she got with Styles is it supposed to be his brother, or I think it's just a friend.
uh, young Neil.
Young
I
Neil,
think
there
it's
you
just
go.
I think it's just like another roommate.
Yeah.
who could
And,
play the
and then she
bass.
gets with them, and then obviously young Neil cares more about knives than what Scott ever cared about, because, you know, Scott's a fucking dickhead, and, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, like, it gets messy. So when you really kind of like, does such and such really deserve to be like that? Kind of felt like a little forced rewarded.
This is definitely like something that this is part of that double-edged sword of like when you're
Yeah,
condensing a long ass story, like some things don't like feel like a reward for some audience members, and I think
yeah.
that's where the film definitely like comes short for uh
The fans of the
yeah,
books. Yeah,
yeah, in comparison to the books.
I haven't read
uh
it, but even I kind of felt like that was a bit of an issue. Because when I
yeah,
had when I kind of had it really kind of like pointed at me, even before I was told anything about the books, it's like, well, yeah, kind of like, why, wait, why is he being rewarded with being with? It's like, I thought the self respect was supposed to kind of be like, you know, I'm not going to be with her, but like I'm learning what lessons I did with her. You know
yeah,
what I
I
mean?
think I've always viewed the self-respect thing as like I him learning like he doesn't need someone else to be happy because he's unhappy because he lost the first girlfriend, the rock star girl,
Mm-hmm.
and like he's just doesn't know how to be happy by himself and doesn't know how to like be an adult, I guess. And
Yeah.
like that's something I feel like the comic definitely did a lot better,
Yeah.
because you're seeing their relationship over the course of a longer time period, and you're seeing how they interact, and like
Yeah.
uh, they're two
You
people.
just get to know him better. Yeah.
Yeah, like Scott and Ramona are two people who both have a lot of like baggage, who like both have been hurt in the past, and both deal with commitment, like their commitment issues in different ways. Scott doesn't want to take responsibility and like acts uh, like an idiot basically sometime at some points, so and acts like he forgets, or like he doesn't make an effort to remember things, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have to feel bad about forgetting like something, like, oh shit, oh, I didn't know that. It's like, we told you that, like, oh, my bad, like it's just it's just his way of like not having to like grow up in a way. And
Yeah.
Ramona, she's dealt with like bad boyfriends, bad exes, and like Gideon, uh, just Gideon's kind of narcissistic, abusive
God
behavior.
complex. There's like
Yeah,
so much. Yeah.
so it's just like she is also kind of damaged like Scott, and in the course of the story, they're kind of learning to come to terms with their commitment issues, and like to like trust each other and like to be with each other. Because at the end of Volume 5, Ramona realizes like she loves Scott, I think, and
Yeah.
but that's a way of like her to get an excuse to get out, like to leave him.
Yeah.
There's this whole little glow aspect with her, like I forgot like what exactly triggers it, but it's just something like when she's glowing and she like disappears at one point and she's gone from Scott's life, and he doesn't know how to like cope with that. So
Yeah.
it their relationship is a lot better built in the comic than the film, but I enjoy the film for what it is when it comes to
It's still like a enjoyable, just fun film to watch. Yeah.
yeah.
But when you kind of just
And
boil it down to just what we're talking about, yeah, that's kind of
yeah,
like where like, who knows, maybe that's what Edgar wanted, you know, to like kind of like have it where it's like, well, like, you know, it's like, which do you guys thinks is right?
yeah, and it's just like I could be completely off base with some of this, but it's just like this is how I interpret it. It's
Yeah.
just yeah, it's just
That great films like that. If you can sit there and find a different interpretation of anything, that's great films do that, you know.
yeah.